All right. Welcome back to Euro Trip Wos.
Yeah, I'm
Has
back, brother.
returned, and we've got 3 episodes of industry to catch up on. So, were you watching them while you were over there, or did you binge them all?
I think I watched one in Spain because Spain actually has Max. Italy does not. Italy just has Netflix.
Mm.
So, like, yeah, no Peacock, no Hulu, no any of that.
So, shadow
Um,
bands blocked. You can't watch it.
yeah, and I'm not one of these people that travels with a VPN and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh So yeah, I think I watched one in Spain, and then yeah, I basically caught the rest as I got back over here.
Yeah, it's been a hectic season. So, today will be
Yeah,
an
it's been
industry
wild.
exclusive episode of the OG pod. We got people traveling, we got people on the bench. So it's me and Waz. We're gonna hit the last 3 episodes of industry, get caught up on the season. So quickly, I'll just run through the cliff notes of what happened in the last 3, and then you can dive in wherever you want because there's so much going on. But episode 2, Smoke and Mirrors, was essentially the Lumi IPO launch. It goes really bad. Rob and Henry Muck have a fight in a
That was
child's
great. That was a
entertainment
great
area,
scene.
the Great Class War, and then Yaz uses the paparazzi following her to spin it at the last minute, and we think that she maybe saved it, but that takes us to the 3rd episode, which is the conference. They go to the conference, and Eric gets sent there essentially to try to save Lumi, get up there, schmooze it, kill the presentation. But while it's happening, there's a Peerpoint auditor played by Joel Kim Booster who gives a unenthusiastic hold while they're on stage, and then it spirals out of control. Harper uses this as her moment to launch her new fund firm with Petra, and they get the backing of a big bossy billionaire, Otto Moston. And then episode 4, man, the Rishi episode, the Rishi Uncut Gems. They came
Yes.
out
Yep.
front and said, "We're doing Uncut Gems." And you and I both love Rishi, so I'm sure we enjoyed this fully focused on him episode. But where do you want to start, Was?
I mean, the last 3 episodes, like in the way that this show reminds me of Succession, is that like nobody really changes or evolves or I don't want to say learns. People do learn things on this show, but their essential truth is what it is. And I think that's just so crystal clear for all of our main people, right? Whether it's Eric and his just steadfast insistence on trying to stay as young or as youth adjacent as possible. Because to Eric, doing his job means that if he's doing his job well, it means that he has energy and vitality and some essential masculinity that is tied to a virile aged male. And like we see that like he's just constantly chasing that at work with hookers, in his management style. Like that's just what he does. Harper like just cannot help but be the most single-minded maniac on the show, for better and for worse. And like we just see it over and over that it ends up being for better and for worse. Like right now it's working for her, but like I don't know about you, I have no confidence that this is going to carry the day for her Because it's just like, even when it works, it's like, that was reckless. But yeah, Yaz, as much as she like, I think a lot of times tries to separate her life from her sort of upbringing as this new money princess. Um, and she tries to be like, well, I'm more than that. But like realistically, a lot of times she knows when she's throwing her fastball is when she's leaning into that and her sex bot nature. Like, and again, we
Mm-hmm.
see that's what she's ultimately falling back on, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, we're two broken people from, the moneyed portion of society, and we have these fucked up sexual proclivities. They're not fucked up. We're not gonna kink shame here.
No king shaming, was not
Um,
in industry land.
but yeah, like she just falls back into it. And then, they just basically give us an entire episode of the one track mindedness of the people in this world with the latest one, with the Rishi episode, where it's just like he is just engaging in destructive action and behavior, one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. And he is sinking into a hole, crashing and burning. And then that same ridiculous behavior ends up working out for him in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, yeah, I'm just reminded that, some people might say it's repetitive. Where I think it's different, from Succession's repetitive nature, where it's just like 1 week it's Roman is the favorite son, then he falls out of favor, then it's Shiv, then it's what's his name, uh
Kendall.
Kendall, then it's like, and it's the merry-go-round of the all three of them taking their turns and being the favorite, then never falling out of favor, then scratching away. Like, it's the same thing, and nobody fucking getting this job. We're like,
Mm-hmm.
literally none of them got the job. Right. I think this show, it's like you could say that there's no quote unquote character development, but we keep seeing them in different roles. Like Harper's, like, she's no longer at Pierpoint. She's now basically a partner in a brand new
Yeah.
freaking fund. Like, this is just a
Yeah.
different role than what she was in, right? Like, we see Rob go from, basically being the plaything, the sort of client services type of guy, to, yeah, he's doing that, but he's doing it with one of their biggest IPOs. He would have never been doing that in season 1 or 2, right? Like, at least we see them progress in their story. And I think another cool thing that the show did, and I can't remember if I mentioned it here or somewhere else where I was talking about it, is like, they're no longer the kids of the
Mm-hmm.
universe. Like, Sweet Pea is,
Yeah.
the brand new person. But they're not Eric and all of them, but like
Mm-hmm.
they're not the shiny new objects anymore. So like, I love that the show is still very propulsive in that way.
Yeah. It can create a circumstance. I think episode 2 and episode 4 in particular, like this, where the sky is falling and it's the end of the world. And then by the end of the episode, it's like, well, yeah, actually, these stock prices, they change really fast.
Yeah.
Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, the Lumi IPO that seemed like an absolute disaster. Oh, the Americans woke up and they bought some, and it's all good. And Yaz deflected the paparazzi, and it's all good. But I want to save the Rishi stuff for later because that episode was something else. But yeah,
Mhm.
the Harper situation right now. She went from the over ambitious protege who
Mhm.
had no regard for any sorts of rules
For
or
human life.
insider trading or anybody else that works for her or anyone. She will fuck anyone over to
At any
get
moment.
what she
Yeah.
wants.
Yep.
And so what does she do? She fucks over her brand new boss to jump ship. Like when she grabbed the mic and threw all of Pierpoint under the bus, threw Petra under the bus, announced her firm, and like it worked, because some rich dude listened and was like, you know what? Maybe. maybe I am morally bankrupt, and maybe we are going to go against this green like movement that seems to just be completely short-sighted and ill-fated in all
Yeah.
ways. So she bags the whale. She gets Otto Moston, who comes in quoting King Lear and is about as cool as he could possibly be.
Mhm.
And then he recognizes something in Harper, and he's like, "You're one of us,"
Yeah.
And then now Harper is the voice on the phone in the Rishi episode. She's the one that he's essentially prying information out of to try to figure out what's going to happen. We also get a shout out to, trying to remember Homegirl's name, but the character from the season 1 or season 2 who got fired from Pierpoint and then was like Harper's boss essentially. She's on the
Oh.
phone now. Um, and so now, like, Harper says, now I pay her enough that she has to do what I want. So, like, even that person who they had that huge falling out, now the money has
Harper
brought her
stabbed
back
her
into the
in the
fold.
back. Yeah, Harper
Yep.
stabbed her in the back. One of the many people that Harper has
Yep.
stepped on, stepped over, stabbed in the back. And just to get back to what you were saying about the meeting of the minds with Otto. And essentially what he's saying is like, Harper, you have a taste for blood. You don't give
Mm-hmm.
a fuck. You will kill anything and anyone to get the paper too. And I think with Harper, it's not really even about money. It's about this like validation that she seems to be searching for and yearning for. Like she wants, it's not, of course she wants to make money. Everybody wants to make money. I think she wants everybody to see her as, I am great at what I do. I'm excellent. I'm hyper competent. And she just wants that so bad. She just wants to be the undisputed king of the jungle or queen of the jungle, whatever. Um, that it just shows it's just such cartoonish nature, man, where she's
Yeah.
just like, when she's like telling Eric, like, I demand eye contact. So sassy. Just like, yo, Harper, we get it. You guys won this round.
Mm-hmm.
Points would be stupid not to work with you guys. You did what you did. Like you got fired. You started all the way at the bottom of the totem pole, basically as a glorified secretary, and
Mm-hmm.
now you're making major market shifting moves. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, she named her company Leviathan Alpha, which is an absurd name, but clearly, Mike Weisberg in the chat said she's low key the villain. She's high key the villain. She is a
She's the
super
villain.
villain.
She is the
She
villain.
has no scruples. She will fuck anyone over. I mean, you're 100% right. Petra is not long for this world. Like whatever
No.
she's built is doomed because she's signed a pact with the devil
Yeah,
here.
yeah. You can't win. Like when
But
Eric, when Eric said, "Do you know who you're dealing with?"
yeah, be careful. Yeah, that was great.
Oh,
But
so
I
good.
really I really like the Otto Moston character. I would love to see some
Mhm.
more of him. I would love to see more
Yeah.
of Harper interacting with him. I'm sure there'll be some more of that in the future. Um,
Hold on. Question,
yeah,
Maze. What do you think about them moving on from this Lumi thing? Like they just burned through that plot point.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
just like
That was
Lumi's just gone.
interesting.
Like it's up in smoke. The company's gone. We're not even gonna pretend that this green energy shit is real. Like it's done.
Yeah, I don't think the plot is over because there was
Mm,
the talk of investigation that has to
okay.
go down.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was and
Because
then
it was
Rob was
clearly a pump
wondering.
and dump.
There was clearly some doctored numbers. There was alluded to that Kit Harrington, Henry Muck was gonna essentially sell all this shit off as soon as
Yeah.
they turned a profit, and he was gonna use it as a massive uh financial boost. But yeah, I think that there will be an investigation, and we'll keep that going. But I
That
do
dude
think it
clearly
is
committed some
impressive.
crimes.
He 100% did, and I they vaguely alluded to, like he alluded to, how all those people depended on him for jobs. Clearly, he's not that concerned about that because the company is going to fold shortly. But Rob, yeah, turning that from what seems like it could be a season-long thing, especially with the way they did with like Jesse Bloom and Harper
Yeah.
last year.
It was like, we did that last year. We're not doing that this year.
It kind of shows how willing they are to flip everything
show.
upside down at any given point. It was big for Rob, like you said. He was the man on the inside at a big IPO they were launching, and when he's like, "What the fuck have I been doing for 6 months?" and Eric's like, "You got paid, didn't you?" Hey man, this is your job.
That's
and
what the money's for. Yep.
That's what the money's for, exactly. And then Yaz, like it's evolved into now Yaz and Henry Muck are
Yaz
going to have a personal relationship.
Yaz
right?
is all the way back. Yeah,
I mean, her flipping out at Rishi when he made a joke about being in bed with the CEO, and she's like, "What? Oh, absolutely not. Oh, what are you implying? Oh,
bro,
I just peed on him. That's it."
On the plane that her coworkers were on with her,
with a not fully closed door, and they're putting on AirPods.
Yo,
I mean, come on.
Yo, okay, I know we're going all over. It's just like it's so much to catch up on. What for you is the outrageous moment that sticks out to the most? Because for me, it's two. It's Yaz walking in on her father getting dome and his dick is mad hard.
Yeah, the splice in Fight Club style of her dad's erect cock. Yeah, I'll fuck you up.
Or it's two, where that scene in the bathroom with Henry Muck, just the sound of the pee hitting the toilet bowl water, and just the implication. I was just like, this show is so sick.
I mean,
sick.
that was that second part was crazy because Sweet Pea is the one who gives her the tip about the piss fetish, and then she goes back to season 1, Yaz, with the games that she used to play with Rob, with the piss in the toilet. But no, man, Wos, those are all amateur hour compared to Rishi.
Oh my God.
Pissing, dude, looking at porn on his phone,
blood
dripping out of his nose onto his infant child. That is one of the craziest scenes I've ever fucking seen in my life. And he's mad at his wife for getting drunk, and he's bleeding on his child.
They've got a sick, twisted, sexual little thing going on there too that I deeply appreciate. I know how that sounds, and I don't care. Yeah, panning to the baby at the last minute, like, bruh, you're holding your baby, dog. Sick. Trying to tip the chick on OnlyFans. Like, who among us?
Turns out to be Sweet Pea. What a twist was that? That caught me off guard.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah. So then when he's with Sweet Pea in line in a cafe or something later on, and then
he did mention the OnlyFans, but I didn't make the connect the one-to-one.
He pulls out the phone and it's the same video, and she's like, "Put that shit away." So one, he's banging her on the side and she's into it. Two, she's got an OnlyFans and he's watching it and tipping her. It's I mean, that she stepped it up in the last.
She has been a quality addition.
Oh, she's great.
Okay. I don't know if this is like Gary Payton Jr. for the 22 champion Warriors, but like just high quality addition. Every time she's on the screen, she's doing something hilarious or something that's making me just like be like, holy shit. So yeah, shouts to her.
And she's, very Gen Z, and that she's extremely opinionated about everything
Oh my
and has a lot of
god.
thoughts.
Oh my god, dude.
Not super interested in just sitting quiet and doing her job. She wants to let it be known what
Yeah, I
she's up
have
to.
thoughts. I have thoughts. Yeah.
Okay. So the Yaz and Henry Muck, they've consummated the relationship on the plane
Mhm.
after the rented out private pool sesh that they had after the conference, as he's all despondent and lost. She seems to have squashed the paparazzi thing, but I'm sure her dad is still missing. I'm sure that'll come up again.
Yeah.
There's that. There was
That
the
storyline
yacht.
is still ongoing and brewing. Yeah.
The yacht came back, but then she couldn't sell it because he owed a bunch of loans out on it, and so yeah, her
Or
dad
or the or
continues to
the
be the shadow.
publishing company that's, like, still named after him,
Hmm.
but obviously he's not involved in. They're just like, "Bro, that's our asset. This dude owes us money. No, his kid can't have the fucking mega yacht. No. Sorry."
Okay, let's talk about Rob for a minute. So Rob at the conference doesn't have his own room, so he has to bunk with Eric, and they get real cozy together. And then Rob has the interesting sauna experience with Joel Kim Booster, who guest starred as Frank, the Pure Point person who reviewed, and also Hung Dong in the sauna. We got full frontal male nudity.
Okay,
Did
question about that
did
because I was
Frank and Rob hook up?
okay, so I was watching this with my lady, and she was like, "Why couldn't he just be in his underwear just like Rob is? Did we really need the dong shot?" And I'm like, maybe he was yerking it while Rob was is that was what we were supposed to take from that? Like he was like
Uh,
kind of yerking it a little while talking to Rob?
I mean,
Because clearly the guy's gay.
I think it was more showing how comfortable he is, and like, because
Mm.
he wasn't erect. He was
He just doesn't
chilling.
give it, yeah, he just doesn't give a shit,
He's like,
is
check
what you're
check me
saying.
out. I got a hot
Yeah, I don't
body.
care.
I got my dick out. I'm not gonna be phased by this, but it was
Okay,
it was kind of
okay.
teased that they ended up in the same room together and that he spent the night with Frank.
Rob had to sleep in his room. But okay, so again, these are the things. This is why it's great to have these conversations because I need to unpack this. So he wasn't able to help out Rob because he gave the call to be like, yeah, we should hold
Right.
on this stock,
Mm-hmm.
which effectively is a sell. So
Yep.
he already screwed Rob over. So if Rob is willing to fuck the guy, are we just for the fun of it? Are we to believe that Rob is gay? Is he bi? Is he just does
That's
he
what I
think this is
mean.
just a good relationship to have?
It was a curious choice to not put it on camera, like in a show that is unafraid to show us just about anything, like noseblood on a baby. They left this off camera for whatever reason. Joel Kim Booster is also probably too big of a star to only show up once like
Okay.
this.
I'm not
So
familiar with his work. Where's he from?
Joel Kim Booster, the movie Fire Island, he was the lead of
Okay.
that, which
Never
was
seen
like
it.
Pride and Prejudice, but set on Fire Island. He's in the
Okay.
show Loot.
Okay.
I think he's a stand-up, maybe. Voice in the Big Mouth. But
I
yeah,
watched season. Oh, okay, okay, okay. He's the assistant in Loot.
he's the assistant in
Okay,
Loot.
my girl forced me to watch
Um,
like 2, 3 episodes of this.
yeah, that's an okay show.
Okay. Yes, decent, not bad.
But Fire Island was his rise to fame. That's a 2022 movie. But yeah, I would imagine that he will come back. So I
Bro
think
got
what we're
engaged
getting
2 days
into.
2 days ago. Congrats to him. This is according
Congrats
to
to
Out
him, indeed.
Magazine.
I think it's showing that one, Rob is damaged, and anybody who shows Rob some affection, he needs the ego boost. But also, he must be on the spectrum. He must be bisexual. He must be exploring that, because I do think they had sex. But it was
And I
weird that they didn't show it
I
to me.
want to put a question to the chat. Hit us in the chat if you're here. If you're listening to this later, hit me on Twitter. Um, Everybody who comes into contact with Rob seems to want to fuck him. Is Rob just that good looking, y'all? Like, is he that eminently fuckable? Like, can somebody put some, like, because every single person who comes in contact with this guy basically wants to screw him.
Yes,
Um, except for it's not
Harper.
really.
Yeah, yes, but they did
Yeah,
eventually, right?
sure.
Harper, uh, the client who passed away,
Bro, the dude that was
the
mentoring
client's
him that
daughter,
died
the
in
client's.
season, the dude that was mentoring him in season one was like, yo, I'm basically passing you the tools. It felt like he was like attracted to
Mm.
Rob, and he might have even made a pass at him. I don't remember. Um, yeah, I'm wondering about that. I'm not
I
saying the
mean,
dude.
he's a tall drink of water.
Yeah,
What's
I'm not
not to
saying he's a
like?
bad looking dude. It's just interesting to me.
Mike Weisberg asked, "Do we see DVD this season?" I think
I hope
DVD is
so.
gone. We haven't heard from him, but
I
I
would
don't think
love for
anybody's
DVD to
gone.
come back.
Given that the homegirl that's talking to Harper came back, I wouldn't put anybody off the list. But um, okay,
Can we before we get into the Rishi thing, because we can just
yeah,
unpack that. Um, Freaking Kid Harrington is just excellent. He's like just the most perfect. He's a little shit. He's a shithead. Just like unadulterated shitheadery from him, and he's so good at it. He's just like the most spoiled little brat that's ever existed, bro.
mm-hmm,
And it's funny to me because he is like the antithesis of everything Jon Snow ever stood for. Um, like, highborn, entitled, like super selfish, never selfless.
mm-hmm.
That like he's playing this character with such verve, and he's so freaking good at it. Just want to give a shout. Like, I knew I was gonna be into Jon Snow being on this show, but like he has surpassed my expectations.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I haven't really thought that he's that good of an actor outside
Facts.
of Game of Thrones.
And
And I'm
he's
actually rewatching.
funny.
Yeah, he's funny in this show. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the writing. You got to chalk it all up to the writing.
Yeah,
But
fair.
he's getting to play a Lannister. He's playing a Lannister. He's playing
Exactly.
a guy who's used to just throwing his money around and getting what he wants, and he
Facts.
leaves Yaz that ungodly expensive bottle of wine that she drinks on the bus and drops.
So
Um,
good.
but I'm rewatching Game of Thrones, and yeah, he's great in that because it's very you're humble, you've been shit
The
on your whole
hero's
life, you're a
journey. Yeah.
bastard,
Mhm.
you believe in nobility and honor and doing the
Yep.
right thing, even though you don't really
I
know what that
don't
is. And
want
this
it.
guy, I don't
I
want it.
don't want it.
And this is the opposite. He does the
Yeah.
wrong thing often,
And is often
and
rewarded for it. Yep.
the fact that he theoretically put all of his eggs in this loomy basket and it's going belly up and he's selling his shares to recoup whatever money he has and he's essentially unaffected. It's very Kendall Roy. It's very much like Kendall trying to throw his money around and start
He's
one of
big
those
Kendall Roy
offshoot
energy.
companies.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, he doesn't really care or know enough about what he's doing to make it a
And it just
success.
doesn't matter, right? Like whether the company fails or wins doesn't ultimately matter. It's like outside of his ego being stroked and him being able to say to people, see, it's not just that I was born with everything. Like I actually have talent too. Like outside of that, it's not going to make a material difference in this guy's life. It's the same thing with Kendall Roy.
And that was what was so great about the fight with Rob in the playroom was they're fucking children. They're
Yeah.
adolescents scrapping, and also you've got, tall Rob, short Kit, like
Yeah.
that, the contrast of styles,
And
the
Rob
poor, the
is like,
rich.
I got it out the mud. I'm one of these, I'm low class. I got it out the mud. I had to go to Oxford. I had to, bust my ass to get there. I bust my ass to get the people. I bust my ass to get to this position in my job so I could be your little bitch. And you were just literally born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And that's what I really do love about this show too, is that like this show is always has a class commentary that just frankly mad shows just don't. And industry just goes out of their way to keep it central to it. Like, and even in the Rishi even when we're doing the
Yeah.
debaucherous, like,
Hmm.
Safdie's brothers meditation, like there's a class commentary. It's
Oh
awesome,
yeah.
man. Like these dudes are incredible.
Before we get into Rishi, I just remembered the Lint, Xavier Lint, Kit Harrington's friend, who is
Oh
the
my
the son of the
god.
chocolate fortune, who wants to be a
Oh,
DJ, who tries to like convince
yo,
Yaz to fuck him. That
bro.
dude put on a fucking tour de force of
Oh my god, bro.
douchebaggery.
A
When you see that
master
that's who
class,
Henry Muck is homies with, this is his boy that he invites on the jet. You're like, okay,
bro.
you're a fuck boy, actually, after
Bro,
all.
what Daniel Day-Lewis did to turn into Lincoln, that's what this dude did to turn into a douchebag. Like, it's insane how when he said, the estate is owned by my family and I'm DJing a party in the basement of it, those two things aren't related.
Yeah, yeah. I earned that DJ spot on my own merit.
Oh god. Mwah.
Yeah, he was
Chef's kiss.
savage.
Yep.
Okay, the Rishi experience. Um, so he's married. His wife was a cool character, and I liked her addition, and I liked their dynamic, like you
I'm
were talking
interested in
about
her.
earlier.
Yep.
But it seems like he married her in some ways to try to get respect and like credibility in
Mhm,
this like old school white
mhm,
suburban way. She's from this township or whatever where he's bought the cricket pavilion,
mhm.
and he wants to upgrade it and renovate it, and there's all this old money, like all up in each other's
Mhm,
business,
mhm,
neighborhood activities. um and he's the loud, drives a crazy sports car that pisses everybody off, new money to the nth degree. Um but the part that stuck with me about that episode was he invested almost $1 billion to make 80 million, which doesn't
That's
seem like great return. I don't know.
well, well, no,
I'm not a
that's his
finance guy. I'm not a finance guy, but call me like
no,
80
but
million. But you go
that's
ahead.
his but that's his company. His company, if he made 80 million, his company made like 4 or 5 or whatever. Right? Like that's just his 4 or 500 or something or whatever it was. Like that's just his
That's his cut.
personal. Yeah, I think that's
His
his
first. Okay,
personal
all right. That
take
makes a little
home
more
of it.
sense
I don't think
because
it's a
I was
pit.
like,
8 to risk 1 billion to get back 80 that's not
seems a little seems a little off. I just had to check in on that because that was crazy to me.
Nah, nah, nah. I think that's just his personal, whatever cut of it. I just think just the insight on, I- as much as we hate to say it, like it is, these people are built different. Like to be
Hmm.
somebody who does this for a living, like everybody can't do this. Everybody wouldn't be
Hmm.
able to stomach this level of risk taking and sometimes just reckless behavior, right? But it's just a certain type of person who's willing to do this, that he's, and I think the show, without banging you over the head with it, is explaining to you that what he's doing in his work context is not different from what he's doing in this fucking illegal gambling shit. It's all the
No.
same thing. It's all the same thing. These people are just gambling with other people's money.
Mhm.
Like that's all they're doing. And I love that the show is like explaining to you, like one of my favorite Jay-Z lines is when he said it's tough being Bobby Brown because to be Bobby then you have to be Bobby now, meaning like
Mhm.
it's
You gotta
all of
deal
a
with the
piece.
consequences.
Yeah, like it's all of a freaking piece, right? And so yeah, for Rishi to be that fucking dick swinging person out at work, there's no like, oh, I shut it off when I leave the office. It's like,
Mhm.
nah, he's doing it everywhere, right? He's really living it.
Mhm.
And I just thought the episode was just dope to like, sort of meditate on that. And then, just all the other fun stuff that comes with like, doing all kinds of drugs and then winning all this freaking money at the casino, then immediately
Mhm.
blowing
Mhm.
some of it at the strip club, then immediately giving it all back to the casino. Like,
Mhm.
oh, so good in that. Every turn, I'm like, he can't keep doing this shit. When is anybody gonna step in and stop this guy? You
Okay, but
know?
that's the great part, right? So
Mhm.
Risk is up his ass all
Yeah.
episode, calling him. His Entourage is like losing it. Entourage can't take
Mhm.
the pressure
Yeah.
of Risk calling them
Poor
constantly.
guy.
HR's up his ass. So he
Yeah.
goes to the HR meeting and they have that great there's a Reddit post overheard at Pierpoint, which is
Yeah.
such a great like meta shout out to
Mhm.
the show because it's always him. You're always overhearing Rishi
Yeah.
on the floor. So
Yeah.
like just that, and then the list of probably alternate lines that they had to
Yep.
throw out there for shit
Notebook
that he
dump.
actually
Yeah.
said, sucked on his cock like a veal calf or something. They're like, how does a veal calf suck cock? But all so like there's HR, and then they're like, oh, let me get it straight, unsubstantiated bullshit. Like I'm fucking out of here. Then they have the sit down and like everybody basically says, yeah, it's really hard to work with you, Rishi. Actually, you suck. Like you're an asshole. And he's like, well, I'm sorry. Don't I make a fucking shit ton of money for the company? Like, isn't that what this is about? You got to make money. And so, but then at the end, when he makes the money, Eric shoos the dudes off the floor. He says, get
Yeah.
out of here. No, he did
Yeah.
it. Rishi did what he does.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, for me, the entire time, it felt like, it's the classic corporate shit. They're setting up the pretext to fire the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's like, oh, there was sexual harassment involved. Like this guy was a brute on the trading floor and all the shit that we know these companies don't care about. Like we
Mm-hmm.
know that they don't care about, but until they do, right? Until they can use it as a pretext to get rid of a guy who they feel like has, sort of outlived his usefulness. Yeah, just like that on a dime. Eric's like, no, he's good. He's fine.
There's also
He
the
just cashed a
confrontation
billion
with
dollar bet.
Eric where Eric is like, dude, you gotta chill, like you gotta take it easy. And then Rishi says, actually, Eric, you're the one that's fucked. If Pierpoint or if Lumi goes south, like that's on you, dog. And then completely flips the power dynamic of that conversation, walks
Yeah.
away clean. He's doing cocaine the entire episode. Like,
Yeah.
is Rishi never not doing cocaine?
It's insane, dude. It's insane. And those scenes with the freaking, the countryside Brits, old money Brits,
Mm-hmm.
where they're just condescending to Rishi and he's just like, fuck you guys. I go out and actually, like, when he's walking into his Ferrari, he's like, yo, I have to like go to like a real job.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're trimming fucking hedges at 5 in the morning on a property that you don't even own anymore. I'm leaving this fucking place to go work somewhere, bruh.
Yeah.
I just love that exchange. You know what I mean?
Well, he calls them like asset rich, liquidity poor trust fund fucks. Like that's the type of people, but he somehow weirdly wants their respect at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it's not like he can completely write them off. He has to deal with their shit and and all that. When his wife says that she fucked the hedge trimmer or she let him go down on her just to like get some kicks off, and he's not even that upset about it. I mean, it seemed like they had a great time when they were childless, right? And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
they would
think that
go have fun and raise hell together, and now like the domesticity, like he views her as a
yeah,
mother, and that's not sexual to
yeah,
him anymore. And like they're having a tough time adjusting to domestic life.
yeah, I think this episode where you're just like, "All right, this chick is independently wealthy. What does
And
she
a
need with a
podcaster. Shout out to her.
Yes, shouts to her. She's like a gooper type of thing. Like, what would she need with somebody like Rishi? What would be the point of that? Clearly they've got an actual sexual chemistry.
Mhm.
And like that they could effectively communicate that in basically, half an episode. I really enjoyed. But yeah, the pace of this episode, I think this is one of those episodes that everybody uh will talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
Mhm.
college with the Sopranos and shit like that. It's
Yeah.
like a legendary episode. Just incredible stuff, man.
Well, they've never done any episode that's this focused on a character. Even like Harper, Rob, or Yaz, like they've always done a pretty good job of keeping it
Yeah,
balanced. Like I
spreading
think
it
the
around.
first season was probably a little more Harper
Yeah,
centric, but to do it with Rishi, who I've enjoyed his performance, but you can't exactly say that Sagar Radia is like a world class actor. Like he doesn't necessarily
no,
have the pedigree, but he crushed it. He crushed this
yeah.
episode.
He was excellent. Hopefully, like, and all of these guys and gals have been getting some great opportunities ever since starting with industry. Because Mickey Down and Conrad, the two creators of the show, they said it was super intentional. One, budgetarily, they wanted
Yeah.
to try to make the show as cheaply as they could. So yeah, all of these kids are just straight up out of acting school, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Straight
Mm-hmm.
up out of Juilliard. And like all unknowns. And yeah, Michaela, all of them, they're all just doing incredible stuff now. And yeah, I look forward to seeing Rishi and some other shit because he's just been incredible from day one.
Yeah, David Johnson, who played Gus, who was in the
Mhm.
first two seasons, he's really blowing up right now with Alien Romulus. And
Okay.
so it's one of those things where, you look at the coaching tree. It's like you look at the industry coaching tree, and in, you know,
Yeah,
5 to 10 years, they're probably going to be all over the place. It's kind of
for sure.
like sex education did the same thing where all of a sudden four of them were in Barbie. It's like, oh,
Yep.
okay. Suddenly you get, when you make stars, when you take the risks and you have like good quality television, and instead of depending on brand name actors, you go and you develop talent, like you end up with some really cool stuff a couple
It's
seasons in.
crazy. Originality. Who knew?
And even Ken Lung, who plays Eric, like he was in
He's been
Lost
he's been around forever.
12 years ago, but this is a star opportunity for him. Like
Yeah. He's
he's never
excellent.
had as big of a role, as important of a role, and he fucks like a young man, and that's what he wants everybody to
Yeah.
know. Anything you really are looking forward to in the next 6 episodes here? Is there anything that you
Yasmin and Jon
want to
Snow, I'm
see?
all in. I'm all in on that. I hope those two crazy kids are able to make it work. Um,
Or sorry, 4 episodes. It's an 8 episode season.
and yeah, just Harper and Eric, like that dynamic relationship toxicity continues to fascinate, man. He was in Rush Hour and The Force Awakens.
Yeah, it's true. He was also an X-Men: The Last Stand. Like he's been around, but
Thank you,
you can never
Adam
say that he's a
Jensen.
star. Yeah, I think the Harper Eric confrontation.
It's
That's
the one
that's
to
what I want
watch. Yeah, it's the one to
because
watch.
she has the upper hand theoretically after that little brunch encounter, but I don't think that'll
She's her
last.
own worst enemy. Don't worry. It's Harper. Don't worry.
And yeah, and I'm curious to see what happens with
My
the
dog, my
Lumi.
dog June Tao beat the shit out of Junior Soprano. Now he out in London killing it in finance.
I'm curious to see what happens with the Lumi disaster,
Yep.
the government involvement in that. We'll see. That's the next episode, I believe, is Rob getting summoned to the government select committee. But yeah,
Mhm.
this has been a killer season. I mean,
Killer,
I
killer.
I
They're
think I
taking
think
it
the
up
fourth
another level,
episode is
man.
my favorite, but just in terms of difference, but 2 and 3 were really good as well. I mean,
Yeah,
it's been nothing but bangers so far.
they're killing it, man. I'm happy.
All right, thanks to Wos. I'm Mays. We'll catch you next time on the OG pod, and we're out of here.